I can hear the ocean.
Hi, Todd and Erin Morning Stream.
It's like seeing Russia from my house.
GiftOurDaily.com.
No, he's laughing at me because for some random picture, there's a picture of me holding an ear of corn to my face like this. It was probably when we were at Kurahara's corn maze.
Which just gives me an opportunity to Photoshop.
So he basically wrote, "Oh, look, it's Erin listening for the ocean in her ear of corn," which makes me look just about as stupid
and then I post
as possible. So
right.
that's
put
cool.
it right up there.
So we really should put up the pumpkin.
How are
one
you?
next. Good morning.
I was just reading some real news and not going to do that anymore today. Thought I'd have a good Friday instead.
Yeah, let's just cheer everybody up.
UEA,
So
your kids home? What are they doing? Are they tearing us apart as we speak?
Mm-hmm. Our receptionist, Wendy, already brought her son in. It was like, yeah, it's going to be bring your kid to work day.
It really is.
I know. So congratulations for all the kids. Glad you have free time for the parents. I'm really, really sorry. Let's go to the Morning Mountain Cam. It is brought to you by Brio Technologies.
Very cool people.
Once again, it's dark and uninspiring.
They could light that if it's light and sound.
They could light the living crap out of that thing.
They could do that.
There could be lasers and explosions. They can do that. Well, maybe not the explosions.
This story's coming up. There's a fence in New Zealand that's got bras on it.
No, not just bras. Hundreds.
Thousands.
Of thousands.
A lot of cups.
It's awesome. Did you know you can get the Arby's venison burger here in Utah now?
I guess there's slow-running deer everywhere.
All right.
And too fat for prison. Can't go. Not going.
I've heard of too purty for prison as a defense, but too fat
different.
for prison's a first.
All right, so I want to talk about this story because I think this is phenomenal.
Yes.
So we as a city, we pitched for the Olympics, right? And they came here, and this is before they made the rules that they couldn't do anything like this. And, we paid, and we put their kids through college here, and, the IOC and all that kind of stuff.
Everybody else did it.
Yeah, right?
That sounds weak even to me.
I know. It's not a good defense.
Oh.
So Amazon is building their
Second
home base.
headquarters. Yeah.
Home base number 2.
The first one, of course, is in Seattle, and then they've got those unimaginably massive warehouses, but they need a second headquarters.
It's
and
amazing.
they were very specific about what they wanted, though, because they're looking for quality of life for their employees.
No, well, let me go through this for you. First of all, there's a package on its way. Just got here yesterday. So you look at that stuff, and it gets your house in less than 2 days. So
they say they usually have it off the shelf in the warehouse within 60 minutes of you placing the order. And this is upon hundreds of thousands of orders a day.
Product in their. So anyway,
I bet they have their own environment in the warehouse. I bet it
like
seriously.
NASA,
yeah, it's got
storms.
clouds and stuff. Because,
They do.
Yeah.
They do. So anyway, cities are vying for this. 50,000 jobs.
Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of construction.
Let me just say that again. 50,000 jobs. So what they are looking for a centralized location for transportation. We happen to have railroads. We happen to have an international
We're delightfully
airport.
close to Seattle, so that it would be an easy transport back and forth, say for executives and
rest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
There's a problem though, and we have this soft bid in, kind of going, yeah, we're fun and we got national parks.
Well, they were looking at they specified that in the bid options, though, that they wanted quality of life, that they were looking for outdoor and recreational opportunities.
They're also, if you think about this, they have to have a population not too big and not too small, that when 50,000 people come into the market, housing costs are going to skyrocket, but they have to absorb. They have to be able to join the
Easily
community.
absorb, yeah.
Right.
That there's schools and different things to support them, yeah.
And so it's rather tough, but some of the cities are just going crazy.
We have a highly educated workforce, and it's good work ethic. I know that there's other businesses that have come here who have kind of picked it specifically for that, even some of the Silicon Valley offshoots down in Utah County.
We're not thinking out of the box enough. When you think out of the box, you get people's attention. When we were going for a job at a radio station, what did we do? We said, hey, thanks for it. We'll just sit back and wait for your decision. Screw that. We're people of action. So Erin got online and ordered a lobstergram.
So we sent them 2 lobsters and said, together we'll claw our way to the top.
Okay, it was good until that point. But the funny thing is, it got delivered when the boss wasn't there, and it says refrigerate, and so he threw it They threw it in the fridge, and then the boss was working late and wanted a snack, and went, "Oh, Todd and Erin people, they sent me and they went in and got it and put it back on his desk and opened it up.
The lobster's like, "Oh, I've been in there forever."
We're clawing our way to the top.
That poor man. He's like, "That was my finger."
We still got the job, though.
It was good.
Was
so
good.
what are some of the
anyway,
other big cities doing?
All right, so let me go through this. Birmingham, Alabama, they have created Amazon boxes, huge ones, and they've scattered them around the city like
funny.
statues. All right, and you're thinking, okay.
It's like an Amazon monolith.
Exactly. They talk about New York, in the country.
Oh, they don't have any room.
They got tons of room in the country.
Don't.
You know, New York's a state. You know
They don't
that,
have
right?
supportive. They
You know, it's
don't have a
big
supportive
state.
infrastructure.
Here's a big state, and here's New York.
Oh, why don't you just give it to
And
New York then? Do you want to do that?
Here is this.
Yes, Manhattan is only like.
Gary, Indiana,
4 miles.
has made another pitch, and
Yeah, but
everyone's
you know what? It's Gary, Indiana.
Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, but that's the
It's
only
their
thing it's
sweet
known
home.
for. Nonetheless, it's still Gary, Indiana.
So
It's like, hey, you want to go to Gary, Indiana, or Salt Lake City?
everyone,
Salt Lake City.
everyone has talked about tax cuts and things like
Ridiculous
that.
tax incentives,
Where's that
yeah.
one city? There's a city that re-annexed a town, and they would change it to Amazon.
We will name our town Amazon for you.
That's right.
That's true.
Arizona wins, though.
What's Arizona doing?
Arizona has decided they want to stand out. So they have mailed Amazon a 21-foot sequoia cactus.
They're very high maintenance sequoias. I used to live in Arizona.
And plus, they're sending it to a very humid climate.
I'm not sure the sequoia is going to be very happy there.
Still funny, though.
That's true.
That is true.
I'm a cactus. What are you doing? Hi.
I'm in
Cactus.
Seattle.
I'm a cactus.
Why is all the rain?
Order us.
Is that your,
Come here.
Is that your impression?
That's
of
my
a
sequoia,
cactus?
but they're really not. They're not really symmetrical, so it'd be more like that. Sequoia.
So anyway, there you go.
It's
so
not
we're-
as good as your chick,
We
but it's a sequoia.
We're having a very soft bid on this one, but we want the Winter Olympics. So I'd much rather have. I don't know.
I want the Amazon. Are you kidding?
You get
Screw the
jobs.
Olympics.
You get cool jobs.
Screw the Olympics. We get 50,000 jobs.
I'd put it out in the salt flats.
Besides that, ooh.
Salt flats.
You know the best part about this? You could order, and it would literally be the doorbell would be ringing before you logged out.
They just get a guy with a long arm. There you go, Mr. Collard. Ding dong, ding dong.
Seriously, it would be epic. Alrighty. Now, I fell in love with this woman because I actually had to email her and say, hey, could I use some of your pictures? I found out.
See, that's the fun thing about this is like we find a story and things, and we want permission, or you just want to talk to the people that are in the stories that you've seen on Facebook and things like that. And Erin and I actually get to either text or talk or message, and you talk to this lady, or
Yeah, I've met so many amazing friends, like that woman who wrestled the shark in Australia, and she was telling me about all the, like, these Russian guys who were sending her flowers, and this other guy who would, anyway. But it's just funny to hear the aftermath of these stories, because
Right.
you keep in touch with them.
This is the weirdest story.
This is Christy Loyal, and she's adorable. I found her on Instagram, which is where I've been talking to her, and she had cancer, bone cancer, and they had to amputate her foot.
I know.
Now, she's been incredibly athletic. She had a new baby. She's like, my job is
There
to
you go.
live. My job is to keep doing things and show my daughter.
She's wearing a sneaker, though.
Yeah.
What's up with the sneaker? What's going on there?
Well, that's the other leg, honey.
Where's she going?
That's the other leg.
I know, she's-
It's fine. That leg is fine.
It looked like active shoe, though.
Okay, be quiet. But the important thing is that she wanted her daughter to see that it didn't matter what
Right.
happens to you. You don't slow down.
Right.
So following surgery, Christy asked if she could keep her amputated foot, to which they agreed. So she then sent it off to be cleaned and transformed into a proper skeleton memento.
What?
Now she takes the skeletal foot on daily adventures and shares the photos on
What?
and it's got its own Instagram account, One Foot Wonder. There's hers and then
Yeah.
there's its.
Oh my God.
And so she shows all the places that she goes with the foot.
See, that's why I said she was wearing a sneaker on the other foot, because she's a woman on the
Yeah,
move.
so she.
Oh my
she
Lord.
Repels. She does all these different amazing things.
Oh.
And she's. It's hysterical. Her detached foot now has more than 4,800 followers and counting, which just freaking kills me.
Hayward must be so jealous of that foot,
And she said,
because it's not broken, you see.
the way she said it, she
Hayward.
goes, cancer's taken my foot, but it's not going to take my sense of humor. And so she does. She just posts it everywhere she goes. And
I can't
so
believe they gave it to her.
the foot has been to 7 different countries so far, and to over 48 exotic locales, like destinations of hiking somewhere, climbing a tree, or
What the-
water skiing or canoeing in the ocean. And
So it's better travel than all of us
pretty much, yeah.
combined.
And it's got a heck of a lot more followers on Instagram than I do.
How does she get to airport security?
I know you'd have to explain it each time. This is my foot. What?
See, it matches. It matches this.
But I love her because she's so funny. I said, you are so optimistic and you're upbeat, and it's like you've inspired me. And she said, that's everything I wanted to do. She says, I thought it was dumb at first, and the Foot Instagram account took off. But she said, I started getting stories back from people of things that they'd recovered from. And she was so excited because she said, it just makes me feel like there's this network of us that just wouldn't give up. And I absolutely love that about her. And also the pictures are very fun.
They're hilarious. I can't believe they gave her, because they won't do that here.
No,
Because I've asked for chunks, and they wouldn't do it because it's biohazard.
I wanted to keep your fatty lipoma, and they refused. I was very unhappy.
Ugh.
At
I
least they
have to
let me watch
explain
that
what it is,
surgery.
because otherwise people think I had lobotomy or something.
A fatty lipoma has nothing to do with a lobotomy.
But you don't know that.
It's a fatty segment of tissue that comes up in a bump under the
Skin.
subdermal surface of the
Skin.
So you
Right.
actually have to incise, and then you have to cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it took a really long time, and Dr. Dan
Let's
was...
not.
And I mean, we had time for a long chat because
Yeah.
it took a long time to get it out of him.
Ugh.
And then they wouldn't let me keep it.
Who are you?
I invested the time. It was like a 2-hour procedure. I wanted to keep it.
Maybe I should follow the example of this gentleman I have in this story right here.
All right.
Malcolm Applegate, excuse me, had trouble with his wife.
It happens.
She was very controlling. He loved his work. He loved gardening. She didn't.
So he's kind of like a gentleman, and
He's a gentleman, peaceful man, gardening man, working man, satisfied with life. She's a controlling witch with a different letter. So
seems unnecessary, but
he put up with it. And he put up with it. You know, in some cases, the story would be he'd hit her with a shovel. But he didn't. What he decided to do,
there's conflict resolution, Todd.
yes, there is. And you know what it is? It's called go into the woods for 10 years.
I beg your pardon?
He didn't tell anybody, and he went off into the woods.
He just went and hid in the woods?
Didn't hide.
Like a gnome or
No.
something? I mean, what he found
He's
a hollow tree?
He's 62. And he's decided he had had enough with this, and he wanted to start his life over again and didn't want to deal with her anymore. So he walked, and I'm not sure how prepared he was, but he just walked into the woods, and far enough, deep enough that he created his own little home, and he stayed there for 5 years. And
Wow.
then he moved, because, you know, you do. Neighborhood went bad squirrels, noisy moose. And he moved, and he went someplace else, and he stayed there for 5 years. Then he ended up in a shelter, and he was working around the shelter, doing jobs, driving a van, painting, doing stuff for other people, and he loved it. And he also raised money for the shelter. Hold it, I'm not done.
I'm not sure how much weirder it can get, but let's go with it, sure.
So his family obviously has stopped looking for him, like for
I'm pretty
9
sure
years and
what is the
6
law?
months.
You have to have 8 years to legally declare them dead. Is that right?
I don't know. So, anyways, he raises that money and stuff, and the reason he supports the shelter is because it's a place that gives people a second life and a second chance, as he got.
That's very sweet. Away from the terrifying, controlling
He
wife.
has never
who
heard
thinks-
from his wife. He has now contacted his sister. They are like really ticked because they thought he was dead. And
See, that's the only part I don't like. It's like, well, at least tell your family, unless he
Right.
thought that she would bully them into telling her or
yeah,
something.
it's like, hey sis, it's me. Kick him in the gonads and then hug him. It's that kind of moment, you know.
Sounds tender
So,
in a scary way.
if you're starting to look at the woods, you might want to seek some counseling before you head out there. See if you can save it.
Do you remember when, like, your dad or your mom would go through all of your candy because they would want to make sure that none of the apples had razor blades in it, or it didn't look like anyone had tainted your Snickers bar with LSD?
We do that with our kids, and it always seems the most suspicious things
Are the chocolate items.
and the Reese's.
Yeah, and those full-size candy bars that our neighbors Mickey and Sherry always give out.
Totally be dangerous.
They could be tainted.
We take them and dispose of them in our own special way.
That's true. But you know all of that is a myth, right?
Right.
Because this big scare started in the 60s, and it has literally continued on for the next 50 years.
Now, I heard
that somebody is out there tainting your Halloween candy.
Okay, so the one I remember is razor blades and apples, and that wasn't a big one because no one ate apples on Halloween. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there were no razor blades in apples.
It's funny because in recent years, images of nails and other foreign objects in Halloween candy have swept across social media. But they said, no, they've never really had one certifiable account ever.
Yeah,
because for a while there in the 70s, the big thing is there's LSD, and I'm like, who's going to spend that much money on LSD to give it to a kid?
Right.
It's.
Right.
I know that's practical and probably an amoral observation, but
right.
I can't imagine going. It's an expensive substance that I'm going to throw into a pixie stick.
There's another story about an old guy who would keep on the stove a pan, and it was full of pennies. And when he heard the doorbell, he'd grab a glove and he'd scoop up some pennies, walk out, and drop them into the kids' hands and burn them.
Don't give anyone. The important thing is this. Joel Best, who's a professor of sociology and criminal justice, actually titled what he calls Halloween sadism. And he went back over all of the police reports nationwide, painstakingly, from 1960 on to now. And he said there's never been one certifiable report of a child being injured or harmed by candy. So basically, once again, it's no. Myth number 2, it's like, if you believe what you see on social media, Halloween is like the purge for black cats. Like they always talk about, the animal shelters say that they've seen so many black cat mutilations and there's satanic sacrifices. They said no. Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the Animal Welfare League outside Chicago actually puts all black cats and black rabbits in a separate room a week before Halloween and will not adopt them out. And they're saying, because there's this huge risk of abuse. So, and this is back when they had the fears of secret satanic cults. This was in the 1980s and 90s. They also went back to the American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, who said, we really did not see, they said, tragically, animal torture and these things happen year-round, but they said, we did not see any definable upswing during the holiday month.
Let me tell the story of the city cemetery. Remember about 5 years ago, and going on for
Salt Lake City Cemetery,
3 or 4 years going on. They were really concerned about cat mutilations and satanic people, and maybe a clan of.
They were finding them in the cemetery and thinking, "Oh, this has got to be a."
And they were dead, and they were cut in certain ways. Okay,
we're getting way too specific here.
All right, so then they finally found out from somebody from Denver who had found this out too. It was the foxes. Foxes like to eat cats.
There's a big fox den in the Salt Lake City Cemetery. Todd and I have seen the foxes several times.
Yeah.
We know right where it is.
Yeah.
And that's how they eat cats. They
were eating the outdoor cats. That's how it happened.
Myth number 3 is that Satan is, this is all about Satan.
It is about Satan. It is.
You remember the evangelical ministers saying, don't let him go out for Halloween because you're just
Satan
basically
is there.
certain
Right.
Druidic custom. But it's really not. Halloween's roots are actually to an ancient Celtic festival that was associated with communicating with the dead, but it had nothing to do with Satan. It's the same way in Day of the Dead in Mexico, where it was once again communicating with their ancestors.
Right.
The communicating with them. They said that there was no possible connection. They also said that Satan was essentially a Christian creation. It had nothing to do with the Celtic ceremony at all. So
I'll tell you what, you can tell if you go to a house, you want to know if there's Satan. If he gives you Necco wafers, Beelzebub right there in front of you.
The legend of Sleepy Hollow is a Halloween story.
That's a great story.
But it's not a Halloween story.
What is it?
They call it one of the best-known Halloween tales. This is Washington Irving's story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Great story.
And it's really interesting. As a matter of fact, North Tarleton New York actually legally changed the town name to Sleepy Hollow in 1996 because they wanted to rebrand themselves as like a spooky tourist destination.
Right.
And it was really smart because General Motors had just closed their Hudson River plant, and they're like, crap,
Right.
we've got to come up with something new
Right.
that brings people here.
Right.
So they actually changed to Sleepy Hollow.
And did it work?
So, yeah, it did really, really well. It's obviously the town's peak season, but if you take a look at it, the story never mentions Halloween, and which was not widely known or celebrated in America when Washington Irving wrote it.
Right.
He said it was also not released anywhere around Halloween. It was released in late spring, and that it had never once referenced the season at all.
But every time you see it, it's in the fall. And the leaves are falling. And it's end of summer. It's October.
No, they never mention any of that.
Well, they meant to, and they just forgot.
You're rewriting Washington Irving's thoughts now?
I have a touch. I have a flair for
So anyway, kids, if your parents are sorting through your candy, they're doing it because they want the good stuff.
Don't say that.
That's the carry away from this conversation. Ignore Todd and all his weird
Really?
stuff about the cats, okay? Just
All right, so
Uncle Todd is
my wife
very
just
thoughtless.
outed us, okay? And I don't think that's fair, so don't pay any attention to her for a while because she just ruined our Halloween.
Let's move on to Daisy in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom, shall we? She is brought to you by Utah Credit Approval, utahcreditapproval.com. Bad things do happen to good people, but you can get your credit back on track and a reliable automobile by going to Utah Credit Approval. It's 801-921-9819. Also brought to you by Brio Technologies. Brio Technologies buys, services, and installs all kinds of audio and visual equipment. Brio Technologies. Daisy, also by All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. 24-hour service with All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air because they know emergencies happen usually in the middle of the night. This is a great time to get your furnace all serviced up and ready to go for winter. You can reach them at allutahplumbing.com. Daisy, what is going on today?
Thanks, Todd and Erin. Hello, everyone. Here's what's making local news Friday, October 20th on GepHardtDaily.com. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says it has temporarily transferred missionaries out of Madagascar. According to church officials, the missionaries have been moved as a precaution because of an emerging outbreak of plague. The church released a statement that reads, in part, a total of 69 missionaries are being relocated or reassigned. An additional 10 missionaries who are nearing the end of their mission service will return home. Ensuring the health and safety of our missionaries is our top priority. In recent weeks, measures have been taken to reduce risk to missionaries, including providing them with prescription medication to help prevent plague and asking them to remain in their apartments. There are no reports of illness among the missionaries. Families are being notified as the missionaries are temporarily reassigned. More than 70 people have died as a result of infection, and more than 800 people have been infected over a period of 2 months. Former Salt Lake County recorder Gary Ott has died. Ott, who was diagnosed with stage 4 Alzheimer's, had been in hospice care for about a week and passed away early Thursday morning, a family member confirmed. Ott's competency to hold the position was challenged for more than a year before the August 1st resignation date negotiated by his family on his behalf. An investigation had revealed that Ott rarely came into the office and that his subordinates had taken over most or all of his duties in his absence. The Utah-based video filtering service VidAngel has declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. VidAngel, which alters copyrighted works to edit out adult language, nudity, and violence, had been sued by major studios including Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, Disney, and others. The studio said VidAngel was operating as an unlicensed streaming service and was offering films to viewers outside the studio's streaming windows. VidAngel claims that Chapter 11 will give it room to reorganize its business so it can focus on its new venture, which filters content from Netflix, HBO, and Amazon instead of DVDs. And now let's take a look at your Wasatch Front weather, brought to you today by our friends at Brio Technologies, where Friday will be a balmy 65 degrees with about a 50% chance of some showers. Saturday will be a little chillier in the mid-50s, and then Sunday climbs back to the 60s. That's all for now. For more local headlines 24/7, go to GephartDaily.com. And for now, Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, Daisy. I gotta tell you, we were talking to John the other day, had him on the show, that was kind of cool. And we were talking with All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. And he's talking about, he's got a deal going. I think this is brilliant. First of all, $69. This is till the end of the month. They'll come out and check your furnace, make sure it's tuned up right, make sure it's efficient, make sure it's safe, number one. CO2 can harm your family in the worst of ways. And so they're actually going to come out, and they have the sniffers, and they have the gas pressure meters, and they have all the different things. They're going to go in and really check out your furnace. And I think this is the coolest thing. That's only for $69. They also have a second opinion. Like if you've got someone who came in and said, oh, you need a new blower fan, that's $1,200 or whatever. You call All Utah Plumbing, and they come out, and they just verify it. If you do, or if maybe it's just a flame sensor, it could be, right? So it's worth a call? I think it is. So if you want to get in touch with them, allutahplumbing.com or 801-652-4755.
All right, you ready for Tell Me Something Good?
I'm not sure. Yes. Oh.
And I think this is your
love
story
this
today.
Can I do it?
This is your story today.
All right, so the Cubs are playing. Celebrities in the stands. Who is
Bill
it?
Murray is a huge Cubs fan.
And so they're sitting there. He got to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in the 7th inning stretch, and so it was like great. And so he's singing da 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 da, and this couple sitting close to him, they started chatting with him and stuff, and the woman's got her belly out to here because she's pregnant, and so no, excuse me, she doesn't have her belly out to there, but she is pregnant, and so they asked Bill. They said, they'd been chatting for a while, and he said, "Would you do us a favor? Would you tell my parents that we're having a baby, they're going to be grandparents on video?" And he said, yeah, I'd love to do that.
Oh, that's so funny.
And so there's a great picture of Bill and the couple sitting there, and he looks into the camera and he goes,
that's so cute.
He goes, guess what, folks, you're going to be grandparents. And then they chat and they put
and
it on
look how
Instagram.
adorable that couple is. They are so cute.
Yeah. And he just went along with it, which is so nice. Because you always worry they're going to be jerks. But he likes baseball, so he's good.
So he's in a good mood there.
Ugh.
But that is adorable.
Isn't that fun?
First of all, congratulations to the couple. That's
Right.
very sweet. Because they were the cutest things ever. They really were. They look so excited too,
What was the story about someone was jogging and someone came into a wedding picture? Oh, come on. What was the story? Central Park, running, celebrity, runs into a wedding party. That's going to drive
Not
me.
Hillary Clinton, but I thought it was a politician.
It's gonna kill
It'll
me
come
now.
to you. It'll come to you. In the meantime, we
Somebody
will tell you.
Google it and send it to me on Facebook.
And at any rate, right now, we need to tell you about Christopher's, which is, of course, the big thank you for the
Winner.
morning stream. We wanted to pick the most luxe steakhouse we could because everyone likes steak, right? And so we actually contacted Christopher and said, you're the most luxe steakhouse in the Valley. Would you like to have dinner for 4 for people every week to say thank you for
Yes.
the morning
Yes,
stream?
we would. Yes.
And Melissa, God bless her, said,
Yes.
sure, why not?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. If you would like to enter to win dinner for 4, all you have to do is just drop a comment on our Facebook page today. You can do that on Gephardt Daily, Gephardt Approved, or on the Todd and Erin Facebook page, wherever you might be watching us. And then we draw a winner every Friday. So today's Friday, and we're drawing a winner, and it would be Lindy B. Lindy B. And I know she has really wanted this because
Winner.
she's mentioned it a lot. I'm proud of you.
Winner steak dinner.
So, my darling, you're on your way. Have a great time, and make sure that you drop a comment so we can pick you next Friday.
All right, so coming up, we got actually, we're going to talk to somebody. I just saw him in the hallway. Plus, we're going to talk about Germans seizing drugs shaped like Trump's head.
That's
And
different.
That's coming up next.
Todd and Erin Morning Stream is brought to you by Utah Credit Approval. Bad things happen to good people, but repair your credit and find the car you want at Utah Credit Approval. Just call 801-404-7201. Also by Columbus Travel. Sign up for their weekly newsletter today for some screamingly good last-minute travel deals. You can do that at columbusvacations.com. And also by All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. This is the perfect time to check out your heating system and make sure that you're ready for the cold winter months ahead. Go to allutahplumbing.com and don't forget 24-hour service.
So Jeff, you do mortgages, right?
I do. How do you do? Well, you go to our website, 4minutemortgage.com, fill out the application. We'll call you within 1 business day. The whole thing takes about a month, start to finish.
We went to the bank
They got really personal.
and went through all of our personal records and all of our finances.
And then there was that little deal about the $8,000 closing costs.
Took like 4 months.
That's funny. That's funny.
His own
Tantrum,
show.
right?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just grabbed Garen Mascarenas in studio. How's it going, guy?
Great. Thanks for having me.
No
Now,
problem.
It was nice that you came by because, of course, you're the CEO of Brio Technologies. But I didn't realize how many like big stars that you do all the lighting and the sound and everything for. Are you ever home? Seriously?
Not very often. My poor wife.
I can just imagine her coming home after 5 months. She's like, "Take the child, take the child."
Exactly.
Because you have little ones, right?
My youngest is 9 now, so yes.
You've had a chance to grow
Grow
up.
up, yes.
That's good.
So you were on the road with the piano guys for how long?
5 years. I was their production manager, tour manager, front of the house sound engineer.
From where to where? When cities, countries?
Countries, cities, from East Coast, West Coast, across the pond,
Wow.
Asia, Europe, everywhere.
See, this is the part that would fascinate me because we all know structurally, if you go through American stadiums, there's a certain kind of level and brand. You kind of know what to plug in and what's going to go where and how the lights are going to shoot. But once you go overseas, everything is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So you
And it's
probably have-
metric.
Yeah, I know. So do you do like a lot of like reverse engineering sort of jerry rigging? How do you do all that?
We actually rely on the local yokels, believe it or not.
Right.
The local guys that
That know what
we
they're
tell them
doing.
what we need and let them translate.
That's a lot less stress for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know,
So
what I mean?
it's not just that though. I mean, like Steve Martin and Martin Short. You did Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s wedding party.
Yes, we did.
How much bail money had to be raised for that wedding?
I can't disclose.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Without using names, what was one of the weirdest things that happened?
At his wedding, or
on
just
any
on
of this.
How about
Yes.
any one of the events that you
Yeah,
have worked
yeah.
with? What's like
The
one of the
weirdest
weirdest things?
things?
Yeah, some
Because
odd.
I'm sure
It's
you see
more.
some stuff.
It's more fan based. The weirdest things is how crazy fans can be
And relationship to the artist.
to the artist. Exactly.
Any in particular that you could say on a family show?
No.
Well, that clears that up for us then, doesn't
Sorry,
it?
unfortunately not.
Well, speaking of family show, he's going to go on tour in North America. Guess who he's going with?
David Archuleta.
We love him.
He's awesome.
As a matter of fact, our biggest hitting thing on Facebook, I think it's got 2 million views, was actually an interview we did with David Archuleta a few years ago. And he's just freaking adorable,
It's
isn't he?
before he got
He
to
is-
know
I-
us.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
Definitely low key. It's
Very
going to be
low-key.
calm. It'll be a
Oh,
nice
yeah.
time.
It'll be a very nice time. It's great to actually work with artists like that. You
It
know?
redeemed your faith in humanity.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Now he's dropping a new album tomorrow, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was just looking at his website. So you're just you're doing the tour that supports that. Now, are you coming back to Utah?
Yes.
Eventually, or?
Eventually, I believe they have some dates laid out for later November, actually.
Mm-hmm. Now,
So,
here's something I didn't know about you. So I always assume that you're always on the road and you're out of town, but you actually, Brio Technologies is actually here. You guys like
Yes,
sell
we're-
and install and rent here.
correct. We are a local-based company, and we kind of service everything.
So,
What's like the coolest thing you've installed? Because there's a lot of like those Utah County billionaires.
Oh, geez. The coolest thing I would say is video walls. The coolest.
I'd say fine,
things.
I'd say.
Explain.
LED video walls. We actually own our own LED walls, and there's just picture it like a big monitor. You can make it
Right.
as small as you want or as big as you want.
So you have the start.
cool.
This is when you see it, and the artist is on stage, and then there's big blown up.
Oh
version.
yeah,
Oh,
the
it's-
live cam
it's
on,
so
on
cool.
there is awesome.
It is so
absolutely
cool.
awesome. It is incredible image and resolution you get out of that.
So you've
got a
been doing a
video
lot
wall.
of stuff down at Southtown. You've done a lot. I'm thinking about clients who are looking for something like this,
Yeah.
from huge to smaller sales,
Yep.
installation,
Installations.
maintenance.
Exactly. We
Rent.
actually work with a lot of the school districts and education
There you go.
in they're
That's true because so many of the media boards, the smart boards.
exactly smart boards. We've installed many of those.
Oh well, God bless you because
And
those are so important in schools.
They are, and their sound systems for their rooms, their microphones and stuff like that. We do a lot of. We're actually going to be doing a big project with Morgan High School this coming up month.
Like
Brand
what?
new
What are you
sound
gonna-
system in their auditorium.
Is this, they know about it? Or is
Yes,
this-
they know about
Okay,
it. Just
just-
signed the contract
just
a couple
go.
days ago.
All right.
So yes.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, check you out, what's the website they go to?
It's www.briotechnologies.com or brioav.com.
Brio.
Yeah.
They're going to get to
Just
you.
Brio and it'll.
Yep.
And now you know you're going to have to send us a few posts from the road that we can publish.
Yes.
Right.
I will do everything I can.
Epic selfies with you. Don't fall off anything like scaffolding, but you have to
Yeah.
send us some cool
Oh yes,
selfies.
we can definitely send you.
Well, definitely thanks for stopping by. I know you got to get going.
Oh, well,
Here,
thank
I'll
you
walk
so
you
much.
out. Aaron,
it.
Garen,
tell
that is so cool though.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
tell them about the German drugs like Trump.
Okay, this is like the most random
guys.
thing ever, and and you've heard of like weird like ways that people transport and they store drugs to get them undetected.
Right.
But I've never heard of the bust of the head of President Trump to do that before.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, well, German police stopped a vehicle Saturday night. They found the father and son inside hauling a heap of ecstasy. 5,000 freaking pills
Wow.
packed in a handful of bags.
That's a lot.
Street value of nearly $46,000. That's a pretty big catch, right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
like, wow, major drug bust. And that's when the police are standing there and they're
Saw that.
standing next to all to the,
What?
the stuff and they're showing all of,
Can you go back to that shot for a second?
because they show all of everything that they confiscated and it's like the cool drug bust picture.
Look at.
That's a lot.
Now
That's
wait
a
a
lot
minute.
of ecstasy.
Now, if you look,
Okay, but-
there is a shape.
No, not there.
Oh.
It gets weirder.
Really?
Okay, there's also one of the ecstasy pills that they seized over the Saturday evening.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had confiscated this heap of pills, which was another, say, $46,000 worth,
Yeah.
it was shaped in the bust of President Trump.
Little tiny ones?
Yeah, with a mouth open wide. They had the impressive eyebrows.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right? The swept back hair. I mean, that's hysterical.
This is like the Fred Flintstone vitamins.
So all the ecstasy was shaped like Trump heads. I mean, even the hair was fishy.
That's just weird.
Large amount of cash. So,
Busted.
but they were just so fascinated by it. They're like, we have to do close-ups of all the Trump heads, and so you get to see them in all of the confiscated material pictures. But I just thought that was different.
It is different.
Different. Okay, so
This story bothers me.
why?
Arby's, they got the meat. And evidently they have the sandwich meat, and the meat is venison.
And they just opened that here, as a matter of fact, because I know that they were doing it in a few states, and we
Any-
talked
any-
about this. But they just publicized that they're serving venison burgers here in
Anywhere where
Utah.
deer are popular as far as hunting goes. Now, the question I have is, where'd they get all the deer? And where did all the roadkill go? Just asking. I know there's farms. There are farms where they're harvested. I don't know if it's 100% venison. But this is a national food chain. Where did all the deer come from?
I am sure they all gave their lives gladly.
Saving school buses
I
full
am
of
sure
children.
these were the noble deer that came forward with their hooves, trotting, going, "Take me instead. Don't take the other deer. Take me. I'm ready."
So they just walk up, people go, "You got the meat? I am the meat."
And the deer gracefully nod their heads. Although, if you are looking to collect a few, Todd and I live up in the foothills, and that's where I go running every day.
Don't tell them where our deer are.
And there's like
Arby's will be there. They have
There's
a
like-
cowboy hat as a symbol.
There's like this gang of like hoodlum teenage deer that were adorable tiny little baby fawns. Last spring we're like, oh look, they're so cute. And they never left. They just stuck
are
around the neighborhood.
Pubescent.
And they will stand there in the middle of the street and look at you like, what are you doing now? It's my turn, man. I'm here. And it's like, and if you've been around a deer, they may look sweet, but they can still charge you. And they do that little irritating huffing thing like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? And it's like, really, it's like high school again, but with deer. So Arby's, if you are looking, I can point you in the right direction.
So you're going to vilify deer
Just the hooligan teenage deer,
so people will hurt them.
the hoodlums, not the good deer.
They're available on the 21st here in Utah.
I can still show you where those deer are because they're really annoying me.
Where do they get all that deer? Doesn't it bother you? I mean, hunting, I'm fine, but
Well, maybe they're being
this is a
supplied.
mass scale.
Well, maybe they're being supplied by hunters.
We can't do that. It's illegal.
Like you can only get so much.
You cannot sell
Oh,
a
that's
game
right.
animal.
Okay, I don't know then. This really troubles you.
It really does, because it's like, okay, if you said we're going to have shrew dogs from little shrews, where do you get them all? It's a national chain.
Shrews.
Little mouse-like mole thing.
Okay.
They sound like that sometimes. You squeeze them right. You're the one who married me.
I know, I remind myself of that daily.
And I'm here to help.
Poor little shrews.
Oh, this is a good story.
This is a wonderful story. And in honor of October being Breast Cancer Awareness
Yes,
Month,
may I say that I love,
you might want to phrase this carefully.
I like fences. There's a fence in New Zealand covered with bras.
It's in the Cadrona Valley, and it fascinates tourists and everybody who will go to
Here,
that island.
be fascinated.
Just on principle, has to stop by this sucker.
Look at it. It's cool.
It's called the Bra Fence, and it's Bradonia, and it's called Bradonia, which is my favorite. And thousands of tourists stop by each year to pose in front of the fence and give their
And
money and
their
their bras.
bras.
In the past year alone, the fence has raised more than $40,000 for the Breast Cancer Foundation through donations made by the tourists at the fence's pink charity
That
box.
is so cool.
And so there's a couple that work there in Cadrona who basically manage the fence, and they look after everything, and they collect the money and take it to the charity. And at one point, he had to send people over to trim off the fence like you would, I guess, overgrown grass, because the bras had become so heavy and unwieldy that they would actually have to trim them off, which is
Do you
hysterical.
mean they lacked support?
To this date, the Bradonia has supported, and publicized
Supported.
more than 257,000 bras. You go, ladies.
Now, just as a
250,000 bras.
right. And
That's a lot of freaking bras.
I'm not going to say a word.
Yay
now.
for you and Foundation Undergarments.
Good for you.
And the donations, which of course is the most important thing.
El natural. I'm in.
I would just take one out of my suitcase. It's not like I would whip off my shirt and just hand off what I was wearing.
That doesn't count.
I would get a nice
No.
laundered one
No, that doesn't
that
count.
I would
No.
place from my suitcase onto the fence.
No, that's not the spirit of this.
I'm not giving them my smelly bra.
Why do you?
Why would you have a nice bra for them? Because we would have been hiking all through that beautiful, rugged New Zealand terrain.
It's going on a barbed wire fence.
I don't care. It's a principle of the thing.
It is the principle of the
The
thing.
girls are not going to give the ratty laundry day bras. That would be tacky. You give them the cute bra that you probably don't wear very often because it's not that supportive. But it looks really nice even though the lace is itchy.
Martin Sheen is in the news. He's evidently Erin's new hero.
He is my new hero. I love
Why?
this guy.
I haven't seen him forever.
Well, remember he was in The West Wing, huge movie star in the 70s and 80s. And then
He's-
he just aged awesomely. He's Charlie Sheen's dad, for which he has apologized before.
I know he has.
As a matter of fact, at one point he actually turned in Charlie for heroin abuse.
He did.
And then sat with him in court and
save
said,
him.
I'll come with you. I'll
Yeah.
support you. And he's also Emilio Estevez's father.
I know.
Because his original surname is Estevez. Right. But he was speaking in Vancouver in Canada yesterday at the crowd at We Day. And he was so incredibly inspiring to me because what he said was this. He said, we're living in a time now of enormous uncertainty
Right.
and hate and anger. He said, and every act that causes us to become angrier and angrier just breeds more.
Right.
And then there's more resentment, there's more fury, and then there's more outrage. And he says, what I want to do is challenge you right now. He said, set yourself aside from the news and the rage and the fury. He says, set yourself aside and find one thing right now that you can commit to, one thing that matters
That's
to you,
positive.
that if you can support it, it will
Right.
become better. Maybe it's a charity, maybe it's just a point of view, maybe it's taking out your neighbor's garbage cans every week. He said, focus on one thing. He
Right.
said, set the rest of that aside. He said, we're creating our own maelstrom of fury and
Oh, I
hate
see, yeah.
and rage. And he says, if you change that with just you, with your focus right now, he said, it will change everything.
Right.
And he was so compelling. And I wish it was copyrighted so I couldn't use any of the audio, but he was so compelling and it was so powerful to me that he was saying we don't have to give in to that. That it's so easy for us to get swept up in the awful things.
It's
And
like a
that includes you and
firestorm.
me,
It's
you
like
know?
a firestorm.
Yeah.
And I watch too much CNN, and at some point, Erin will just walk through and turn it off.
I can't take it anymore.
And I'm like, oh, thanks.
But
I couldn't turn it off.
But he's my new hero because of what he said. It was such a smart way to encapsulate it down to each one of us and to what could change each one of us in terms of viewpoint and who we were.
Just one thing.
And what we do to impact the world.
Just one thing.
Yeah, so he's my new hero. And if you do want to see that, it's on Twitter Moments, and you can see a script of the whole speech. It's really inspiring.
We have a warning for you. We've talked about deer today, and there are a bunch of animals that are out to kill you,
When animals attack,
and that's coming up.
it's not funny.
It's not. It's scary.
The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is brought to you by Fink and McGregor. Did you know that you can qualify for a mortgage with a credit score as low as 600? Just go to fink-mcgregor.com for more information. It's mortgages made simple. Also by the Vein Clinic. There's several excellent varicose vein removal procedures, but you need to find the right one for you. You can do that by scheduling an appointment at theveinclinic.com. And also by Black Diamond Heating, Electric, Plumbing, and Air. Black Diamond Experts, they also have a brand new office open in Ogden. You'll be glad you called an expert. BlackDiamondExpert.com.
Utah Credit Approval is now Utah's Better Business Bureau #1 rated subprime company. That's why they approve more people than anyone, with better vehicles and lower interest rates, even 0 down payment. Just listen to one of their satisfied customers.
We recently went through a bankruptcy process looking to purchase new vehicles. We found Utah Credit Approval, went there, they treated us amazingly. If you don't want to go to another dealership and deal with all the BS in the sales manager office, go to these guys, you will not be sorry.
Utah Credit Approval, Gephardt approved, and Utah's Better Business Bureau #1 rated subprime company. Apply today and drive away. It takes 5 minutes or less to get approved. Plus, they'll throw in a $500 cash card with your new car. Visit utahcreditapproval.com or call 801-921-9819. That's 801-921-9819. Go to utahcreditapproval.com now.
Holy crap, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. There's something on loose out there, and you got to watch yourself. Police department just came out and they said, folks, stay in your homes. Stay in your vehicles.
Escape criminals, like a prison break or...
Aggressive turkeys.
You know, until we posted that picture this last week of all those turkeys in our friend's Ryan's patio up
Yeah,
in Bountiful,
yeah.
I had no idea that we actually had wild turkeys here in Utah.
Yeah. Well, actually, they were introduced across the country, and they did extremely well in almost everywhere they put them.
Except
in
for these, apparently
Massachusetts.
these roid rage ones.
Well, these are chasing a police car.
That's freaking hysterical.
The car's not going fast. When turkeys can run pretty fast, though. But they're sitting there going along and being very aggressive towards the vehicle itself.
The angry, roided out turkeys.
Humans are to blame for this.
How so?
They fed them.
Oh, so now they're like, you will give me that sandwich and
Yeah.
you will like it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, animals are attacking everywhere. We told you about the hoodlum teenage deer.
Right.
Now we've told you about the aggressive turkeys. There's also, they use this phrase a lot, it's interesting, an aggressive llama on the loose in Colorado.
Llamas, yeah.
This is pretty scary. The city of Fort Collins, and they actually shared a photo of the llama saying, look, you have to stay away. The llama lost its mama, which, by the way, I love that phrase, at Bobcat Ridge, and she is aggressive. So she's apparently mourning mom, and she's taking it out on the residents because several hikers...
When you say aggressive, what do you...
It means several hikers had come back and reporting that she had charged them, and she even knocked off a small cliff, and he got quite banged up.
Right.
But so that there's been a lot of reports of like bleeding and falling and being chased around
Yeah.
by one llama, one really pissed off llama.
Lucky it's not mating season. Is that it, though?
But no, there's more.
There's more.
There's more. There's also an aggressive alligator.
All alligators are aggressive.
Now, we've heard alligators in like bathtub stories before, like people who thought it'd be fun to keep an alligator and then all of a sudden it got real out of control.
I'm riding an alligator.
Picture where this happened. Where would they have found such an alligator?
Next to a road?
Well, no, like Florida. You see,
Oh, yeah,
you see
Florida.
one there.
Yeah, Florida, Louisiana, the bayou.
Well, the animal control in this particular city says that typically we handle loose cats and dogs.
Okay. New Orleans.
The occasional rogue chicken thrown in. But today was a first for us because we are called upon to help rehome a 7-foot-long American alligator.
Yeah, it's got to find its home. Everglades, Florida.
So apparently, the owner was finally went, I can't handle this anymore, and called animal control, and they came in and they found the totally pissed off 7-foot alligator male in his bathtub, where it had been living for however long it takes an alligator to grow to 7 feet long.
What?
Yeah.
How do you? Okay, first of all, it's in your bathroom.
And so,
how do you sit on the toilet?
It's
being watched by a 7-foot alligator.
It's a 3-year-old gator. Wow.
How do you sit and go to the bathroom in front of a 7-foot? Well, quickly, I guess. You would go quickly.
Super, super fast. How do you clean the bathtub?
Just turn the shower on. Duh. Where do you keep the chickens to feed it, though? You see, it just keeps cycling.
Well, there was some speculation on what exactly they were feeding the alligator because they said he looked suspiciously well fed. That is their phrase, suspiciously well fed.
Chickens. Where was this?
Alaska. Nome, Alaska.
What the? So, they have two choices. They can put him on a plane and send him to Florida, or they can make luggage out of him.
You can't do that to the alligator. It's not its fault.
Nome, Alaska?
Right? Who in Nome, Alaska? You know what I really need? You know what I really need to make my life complete? I need a warm weather creature that I can put in my bathtub. I mean,
to the face.
I was just imagining that's the face of someone with the IQ that I want to have an alligator in my bathtub.
It's like
in Alaska.
Someone in Mexico wants a penguin, right? Or caribou.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, in any case, good. Animals do attack, and now you are warned that they are around every corner, and they hate you.
By the way, just in case you're attacked by a turkey, this is what they recommend, and this comes from the Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Sudden noise, sudden movements, and squirting them with a water bottle.
Oh, it works with my toddlers.
It works with me.
All right, maybe we should go to Global Headlines with Daisy. She is in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom, and she is brought to you by Fink and McGregor Mortgages Made Simple. If you go to fink-mcgregor.com, you can look at getting a mortgage for a credit score as low as 600. Jeff and his group have amazing amounts of different mortgages, and they can find one that fits really well with you. Once again, fink-mcgregor.com. Also, To Liberate a Man, you can free yourself from adult addictions for good with a tried and true and completely unusual program. Go to liberateaman.com for more information. Also by Black Diamond Experts in electric, plumbing, heating, and air. And they have a brand new shop open in Ogden now, so they're even closer for you in Weaver County. You can go to blackdiamondexpert.com. Daisy, my dear, what is going on today?
Good morning, Todd and Erin. Hello again, everyone. Here's a look at national and world news for Friday, October 20th on GepHardtDaily.com. A 4-day effort aimed at reducing human trafficking across the United States has resulted in the recovery of 84 juveniles and the arrest of 120 traffickers. The FBI this week announced the results of its annual Operation Cross Country, now in its 11th year. 55 FBI field officers worked with 78 state and local task forces consisting of hundreds of law enforcement officers. They staged operations in hotels, casinos, and truck stops, as well as on street corners across the nation. In Utah, Salt Lake City police officers arrested Roger Dwayne Jessup, 28, for investigation of exploitation of a prostitute, a third-degree felony. Ticket prices to a Colorado Republican Party event featuring Vice President Mike Pence have plummeted due to a struggle to sell seats. Pence, the headliner for the event, was supposed to be part of the Colorado Republican Committee's largest event and would serve as a huge draw, Executive Director Shauna Banberger said. However, ticket prices originally set at $275 and now $150. The event will take place October 26th at Denver Marriott Tech Center. And an Ohio woman said she was shocked to open her DirecTV bill and discover she owed the satellite TV service nearly $185,000. Angela Mixon-Smith said she nearly had a heart attack when she opened the bill and saw the balance. I mean, my chest got heavy, she told a local TV station. I had to get some water. I don't drink. I was ready to drink. Mixon-Smith said she signed up for a promotional offer in April to bundle her DirecTV service with a new cell phone plan with AT&T. An AT&T spokeswoman said the company was looking into the issue. That's it for now. For more headlines from across the country and around the world, go to GephartDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Oh, thank you, Daisy. You were a goddess, of course. Black Diamond, I was just telling you about them because they just opened up that new store in Ogden. But it was fun to hear some of the stories from people, because I always like to hear back after people ask me, you know, where should I go for this or that? And most of the time you ignore me, and that's okay. But when you do listen to me and you actually go there, I want to hear about it. So one lady was really cute. She's newly single. She just got a divorce, and she was kind of freaking out because it's her first home. And to be honest, I wouldn't know anything about shutting off sprinklers either, or you know, checking my furnace. That's why I got married to him, because he's good at all that stuff. So she said, who should I call? Because I want to have somebody I can trust. And so I said, go put this on your list of people you like and call Black Diamond experts. So they sent this guy in, Steve, apparently very nice, and he wore these booties, and the kids thought it was hysterical. And he went down and he went through the whole furnace, and he said, okay, let me show you how to just change the filter so you know how to do it, okay? And he explained why you would turn it off and why you would turn it back on. She said he spent like 2 extra hours with me just explaining how stuff worked, because he wanted to make sure that I would know how to do it. And I thought that was wonderful. And this is something I really like about these guys, because they do know how to fix everything in the home. And the fact that you've got a guy like that who will take a minute to make sure that the homeowner knows what she's doing, I mean, that's pretty cool. So anyway, you can go to blackdiamondexpert.com for more information about electric, plumbing, heating, and air. All right, moving on. Do you want to hear about the coolest thing ever?
I would like to, yes.
You've talked about your dyslexia before on the air. I mean, on our shows, you've mentioned it every now and then. Mm-hmm. And some of the cool things that your mother did, because back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, if you had dyslexia, you were sent to a psychologist because you just didn't want to learn.
There's a lot of different learning disabilities and challenges that people have, and just like autism and things like that, there's a spectrum. And it depends where you are on it. You know, some people are higher functioning. I've worked my way around. I've gotten really good at reading fast. Not reading and saying it at the same time, but as far as skimming copy and finding the information and need to tell a story.
Well, it's interesting because.
And it's a challenge. And reading was horrific. Oh my!
You hated standing up in front of your class.
Teacher used to make me stand up and read. Well, try to read, and I never could. And it was just like.
And that's where Miss Virginia catapulted you into an alternative learning situation that helped
tutoring
you.
And stuff like that. So,
but it's pretty cool, because what they're finding, they had done a huge amount of like CAT scans and MRIs, and they were trying to work through the brain chemistry of certain learning disabilities. And the primary one they were focusing on was dyslexia. Mm-hmm. And what they were finding is, number one, dyslexics tend to be above average intelligence, and they say the way the brain, no, you were so smart. The brain tends to work backwards in certain directions when it has to reapproach a skill, like for instance reading or comprehension. Right. And they found that actually dyslexics can create new neural pathways in their brain that actually get around the initial problem, whatever connection is wrong, in order to get to the skill, which is really cool.
So like spelling and reading, and it's not always flipping things like a lot of people think that. That's one thing that you might be affected by.
But there's more, yeah.
There's huge about.
But here's one thing that is absolutely wonderful. In the study, they found that most dyslexics have dominant round spots in both eyes rather than just one. It's a tiny clump of cells in the human eye. And of course, if you have one, then you're doing fine. But with two, it leads to blurring and confusion. Now, they said this is really exciting. They said, no, it's not for all dyslexics. But what they were saying is, if the round spot issue is your problem when you're diagnosed as dyslexic, they can fix it. And they said the result is immediate.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
It is cool.
Because that does take out a lot of the training and the frustration and all the extra work that you have to go through.
Spelling was a huge thing, too. One of the biggest things that helped so many people, adults and kids, were the software that you can speak in and it writes for you. and voice recognition, and it made all the difference in the world. And suddenly now they can do papers, and now they can go to college, and now they can be teachers. We met a teacher, and this is what she does, and she has dyslexia, and yet she can teach because of technology, and it's making it easier for so many people.
So anyway, it's exciting. Every time I see like a new development like that, it just makes me so thrilled because there's so many new things that they can do now to help people, and it doesn't have to make life as difficult as it could be. And with a change that simple with something, because eye surgeries can be very, very simple.
And you could do it so young.
Yeah, and then and just the fact that the reversal is instantaneous is amazing to me.
And that'll work for some people. Some people it won't. And that's the way it works.
I will hope that if you were in you're in that group, that it will be one of the things that helps you. I think that's so cool. Okay.
Coming up next. I can't go to prison. I'm a little chubby.
I'm too fat for prison. I've heard too purty for prison, but I've never heard too fat.
It's next.
The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is brought to you by Fink and McGregor. Go to fink-mcgregor.com for mortgages made simple. Because they're a broker, they have a number of different options they can offer you. Just go through a 4-minute questionnaire and someone will call you back by the next business day and get you on your way. It's fink-mcgregor.com. Also by Utah Credit Approval. Utah Credit Approval knows that there's sometimes the bad things happen to good people and that credit may be hard to repair. But you can apply today and drive away today with Utah Credit Approval. Just call 801-404-7201. And also by All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Go to allutahplumbing.com to schedule a check to make sure that you're ready for winter. And don't forget, they have 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com.
All right, so you can't send me to prison. I'm kind of a porky person. Too fat for prison.
Are you saying this is an actual legal defense now?
Well, sort of.
There's a lot of legal defenses that make no sense, but nonetheless, an attorney will go, what the heck, let's try it.
This Twinkie defense, a guy ate a Twinkie and killed someone. He got off. All right, so here it is. These two gentlemen, 72 and 61 years old, and they basically had a tax scheme going. They were selling tax shelters. It cost the IRS about $10 million, and they finally...
Ooh, that's a lot.
They got caught.
I wonder.
Now, one of the gentlemen was about 5'6", about your height, and weighed 320 pounds.
Wow. That's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight on a 5'6" body.
So
that's a lot of weight on any body other than like a hippo. Yeah.
No hippo shaving.
Never. The hippos are beautiful. Their forms are beautiful.
So the lawyer was thinking about this, and they gave the guy 6 years and 4 months in prison. And the lawyer said, "But wait a minute. My client's life expectancy is different than an average person. Hence, the penalty that was handed to that man was a certain percentage of his life based on average life expectancy." So, and another lawyer word in there, right there, ipso facto, if this person is going to die sooner, then the sentence should be shorter.
I don't think that's how they do sentencing guidelines, though. It's not like it's like a percentage of your life expectancy. It's like you stole this much money so that you spend this much time in prison.
Right.
So basically, what he was saying is that it wasn't fair.
The penalty was a bigger amount of years. It was a larger amount of years and length of time because he wasn't going to live as long. It's genius.
Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. I totally don't buy it, but that's like
right? Yeah.
But that's like a totally cool defense. I mean, as a judge, would you sit back and go, "Okay, explain this to me"?
So I'm writing that down
because it's interesting. I mean, I would want to know how you thought you were going with that, but that is actually very interesting because it's true. The higher rate of obesity does shorten your lifespan,
right?
Because it increases your risk of certain cancers and heart disease and a lot of other things.
And if you were really big, think of the money it would save the state because you'd only need 2 bars, like one here, like one here. On the cell walls.
And you'd never have to worry about a jailbreak because he couldn't get out of the chair.
Couldn't get between the 2 bars.
It's like, I've got to rest. It's like, dude, you haven't even gotten out of your door yet. I got to rest.
I need a snack. Fog bow.
By the way, I want to be very clear that we are not mocking anyone who is overweight by what we said there because one of my closest friends is overweight. However, she exercises like crazy, and she's incredibly healthy, and she eats kale.
And she's not going to prison.
And she's not going to prison. So we're only mocking this particular man for his $10 million tax scheme.
Right. That he fraudulently stole for people. Okay. Fog bow. I don't know what a fog bow is.
I totally thought you would have seen this story first.
Never.
Because you're so into science and like nature phenomena.
Sounds like fake news.
Oh no, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And I've never heard of this before, which is why I was so excited. Fog bows are very similar to rainbows because they appear as a bow, but it's actually in fog rather than in rain. Because the small look at that. Because of the small size of the water droplets that cause fog, they often appear as white. So you can actually see in the fog, you can see a fog bow. And if you see, it's got a corona of like gold that runs across the top of it.
Where does this happen?
Well, it happens anywhere that you see fog.
You need fog.
Like for instance, this was one of the fields, and you've seen fog that comes up over the fields. Same thing in the Antarctica. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Fog bows. I'd never heard of that before.
I had no idea they even existed.
And isn't it beautiful? Look at that. Look at the rays that come out of that. So anyway,
thank you. I just
fog
learned
bows.
something brand new today.
I just thought they were cool.
This person's going to burn in hell.
Why?
I will let you do this one. Right?
Oh, people who are going to hell.
Right.
The Odessa Police Department in Texas is asking for the public's help in locating a suspect accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars from the Girl Scouts of the desert Southwest.
The cookies.
You stole tens of thousands of dollars from the Girl Scouts?
Wait a minute.
Why don't
Keep reading.
you just stomp a puppy?
It's not money.
Oh. Officers say they're currently searching for Heather Renee Haskins, who is wanted on a theft of property charge. She's wanted in connection with more than $25,000 taken from the organization. She's described as 5'6" and 185 pounds.
Covered in chocolate mint.
She's believed to be driving a Chevrolet SUV with. Oh, really? And she stole.
What did he say?
She stole $25,000 worth of Girl Scout cookies.
Thin Mints.
And she was selling them out of the back of her car.
Hey, buddy. Hey, you
and
want
as
some
our photographer
Thin Mints?
Richard just said, apparently she was just caught. Because there's not that many people you see walking up and down the street with 87 cases of Samoas.
Samoas.
I can't eat another bite. Would you like one?
Oh, Samoas. They got together with KFC and put 11 herbs and spices in those things that make me crave them fortnightly.
I don't think it could get worse.
Oh.
You stole $25,000 worth of cookies? How many cases would that be? You'd need a
More than a
forklift.
dozen? Where would you put them? How would you carry them?
I mean, you would need a warehouse to store that many, right?
Right?
$25,000 worth of cookies.
And we personally know people who would buy half of those.
Oh, yeah, totally.
If they had a big enough freezer
And I
for the
wouldn't judge
Thin
them.
Mints.
Yeah,
No.
I wouldn't judge them if they got the contraband Girl Scout cookies.
We live in the Wild West. You know that?
That is the one reason I was actually really shocked at the Boy Scouts move to attempt to, preempt and take girls into the organization.
The
or to help
cookies.
them. I'm like, you're going to piss off the Girl Scouts?
Right.
Really? The people that supply you with your Thin Mints?
Right.
I would never mess with the people who supplied me with my Thin Mint cookies. That's just asking for death. I'm sorry.
You know that's their major fundraiser.
Yeah, it's $1 billion a year. That's their major
It's the
thing.
thing that finances their projects.
And it goes through a lot of all the things where a lot of the lower income girls can go to different camps. It's wonderful.
Okay.
But once again, she's going to hell because she stole $25,000 worth of Girl Scout cookies.
Tombstone,
Okay. The pizza?
Arizona.
Oh, the actual.
Think of the Wild
Corral.
West. I want you to think of the Wild West right now.
Yes, I am.
Dusty streets. Show them the picture. Swinging saloon doors.
Oh, yeah. The site of the OK Corral.
It's a western town. It's a western city. A couple walks in. Now, the sheriff was there, and he said stuff was going on. It didn't look good. Carol, 47, James Robertson, walked into the bar, and as always, they checked their guns at the bar.
As they should.
As it was
Every cowboy.
back then.
Every cowboy.
Yeah. And evidently, the two got in an argument with another gentleman, or dude, as we like to call him, who also had turned in his weapon to the bar.
Okay.
Evidently, the next morning, one had a hankering of putting a hole in the other one.
Did you just say hankering?
It
Putting
did.
a hole?
So he moseyed over to the bar and he got his gun. And the guy came in the room and he drew. And he put a hole straight through him. And the guy fell down dead. This happened last week in Arizona.
Are you kidding me? At the OK Corral? At the actual town of Tombstone?
No, it was actually next door at the Doc Holiday Saloon.
At the actual town of Tombstone. And they actually had a gunfight. Like with the bullets and stuff.
Yeah. This happened
Well,
last
okay
week.
then.
And it's always over a girl. Things haven't changed, have they? The Wild West. All right, we found something online. It's called Heatherland. If you haven't seen this, I ain't going to do that is her catchphrase.
Okay.
I ain't going to do it. And she is all
I ain't
over
doing it.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And basically, she does all these great pieces. We chose this one because of Halloween. And, by
It's
the
in
way, have a great day.
It's in regards to sexy Halloween costumes for women. You know, there's always like sexy nurse and sexy witch and
It's Heatherland, and this is it. Todd and Erin here at Morning Stream, GetOurDaily.com. We'll see you Monday.
Okay, look here. If you are a female, no matter your age, and you want to wear a costume for Halloween, that's great. But I shouldn't have to explain to my children why we can see all your pixie dust there, Tinkerbell. Goodness gracious alive. Like, I appreciate that you want to be Alice in Wonderland, but how about you give us a little something to wonder about? Never in all my life. Like, I know you're trying to be a sexy skeleton, but we can see a little bit more than your bones there, girlfriend. Lord. I'll tell you one thing, I would rather replace my toilet paper with steel wool than to look at that mess. I ain't doing it.